Hi Jason, so you're joining us from Singapore. How is it over there?
It's hot and wet occasionally.
Cool. And we've also got Stephen.
How's it going, guys? Guys doing well?
Yeah. So I'll kick it off to talk about digital transformation and what that means for TEC and for our members perhaps in the broader sense. Jason, did you want to start?
So digital transformation is an interesting one because it means different things to different people. To me, there are three main areas that I see digital transformation should cover, or one of them is the systemizing of existing business processes. So, for example, they could be established things that you do that requires lots of documentation. You systemize it, you automate it, and you get rid of all the paperwork. But it satisfies the corporate requirements. It satisfies any regulations that you have to keep. Another thing that, to me, is what digital transformation is about is the use of software as a service type platforms and tools to help make your work more productive, such as Office 365, where you could have messenger apps to communicate with your teams. You could do meetings online with Zoom. You could share documents, and you could use web browser enabled tools, to work together on documents and so on. And the third thing as well is how to make functionality in your systems available to your clients and your staff and your members.
Like when we think of digital transformation, I think like you mentioned, it's different across businesses in whatever state they are. Obviously, TEC being an enterprise, the challenges that we'll face is very different from, say, startup, small, medium enterprise. And I think as well with the climate, digital transformation isn't just something that, companies want to achieve. It's addressed in the climate. If you look at the COVID experience that we're going through now, I think a lot of people, they're working from home, they're having to adopt software which they wouldn't have previously used, processes as well that are put in place to help manage workflows. I think it's very relevant for today's day and age. Also, I think with digital transformation, I think a lot of people think AI because obviously it's very, futuristic tech. I think, Stephen, you can probably give some more background into digital transformation and the AI component.
I think right now in the 21st century, I think we're going through a lot of big changes in the world and the society. Obviously, computer haven't got invented until 60 years, 70 years ago. And now we have digital screens everywhere. We have AI technology, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and all these kinds of technologies that you'd never imagine. The thing about digital transformation is that it's really a gap between what was 20th century and 21st century. And that a lot of enterprises and companies are experiencing a big shift in how they have to do business now, because forced by the tech industry and all the different advances that we have right now. So, despite AI being a really industry shaping technology out there, I think we have to respect that in order to be able to achieve effectiveness with AI and machine learning, you actually have to transform your company first to make it a very data-driven company. And in order to do that, you really have to really start respecting data, information, our processes, our business. Because I think digital transformation is really like a mirror. It shows you how well your company is ran and how well those processes, standards are in place. Because if those things are not in place and the vision is not there, then it's very hard for a company to be able to shift all of a sudden to the 21st century. Just expect it's not something where you can just throw money into. It takes a lot of a coordination and leadership to be able to pull that kind of thing off.
Stephen, isn't this the job of the IT department? Isn't this something we tell the IT department to do, and the IT department has to figure everything out and come back with a proposal and come back with a solution?
I definitely think it's something that it's definitely a collaboration. It starts with a vision for sure, and it has to be because IT is really the tool, and we need all the different departments and the business stakeholders and the customers. There's so much to consider, to be able to get all that information, extract all that information out, but also be able to make sense of it. So we need to break that mold as IT and be able to reach out to businesses and customers as well too, because they need our help to bridge that gap as well.
Yeah. I would say digital transformation, it extends out from IT into all the different departments of an organization. It's the people, it's the processes, it's like you mentioned, the data, the information. It's a way to break down those silos of processes which are in place,
I think especially during this COVID-19 period, a lot of company, there's a surviving question to them that if they are adapting the reality that the trend for the future is going to digitalize a lot of business on themselves and be able to scale themselves and flexible enough that to be competitive in the market. Yeah. So sounds like digital transformation is really a foundation of good business nowadays, isn't it? But what is the most important element that we should accelerate this or to promote this in the company?
That is probably what everyone wants. They want it fast. They want it yesterday. They look at their competitors. They look at other companies and they think other companies have it. Why can't we have it? Surely there's a system that we can buy. Surely there are ready-made solutions and it should just be a matter of pointing and clicking and we can set everything up. IT as a whole, as an industry, things now are. The barriers to entry seems to have lessened. It seems to be easier for people to get into IT and able to come up with solutions. But to do it well that is the challenge. Now it takes longer, as the tech guys can tell you. It takes them a longer time to learn about a framework, to learn about a system, and than it is to actually do the implementation. Because the barrier, a lot of things has been done, has been thought for you, but how to implement it, that's the key. So Stephen touched on a point just now of all of these systems and able to enable the business to reach the goals and so on. And how to accelerate. People are impatient now. Instagram, cryptocurrency, they want the big returns. They want it right away. Social media, they want it now. We buy something, they want it now. So a challenge for on the IT side is how to deliver the solutions sooner, yet making sure that quality is there, making sure that standards are there, making sure that security is there, the system will withstand the test of time, will be able to scale, will be able to rely. But that's why it makes our job tough, challenging, fun, but tough.
It comes in two folds, right? First, more on the technical side and also on the business side as well too. The technical side is actually easy if you have the right technical talents around. Say for example, you would introduce more on the software side, for example, you would introduce a lot of continuous integration, continuous development type of practices where you'd be able to write a line of code and be able to publish that out to your products right away instead of manually doing that. You have a lot of adopt a microservices architecture to be able to break down your systems into smaller things that are more manageable as well too. So I find the software side is relatively easy because you have a lot of good tech talents in there. But what I find is more challenging is definitely on the business side as well too. You need people who be able to bridge the bridge between tech and the business side. People who be able to talk about businesses, but also have a clear understanding of what the technical landscape is.
Yes, I totally agree. Especially my main duty here is to develop software. Right here in the office, there's different talent in different area of IT that is impossible for everyone to just know everything from each other. But sharing information is very important because we can keep the transparency and align all our plans or our configurations so we can have less issues later on and also actually upgrade our productivity.
With IT, there's so many people doing different things. People think that the computer guy, the guy that can fix your computer, can help you with your network and can cut code as well. Some people can, some people do have the experience to do that. Most don't. So, you have to figure out, what resources you have in-house and where do you get help? Where do you get resources? There are a lot of vendors out there that are very, very happy to take your money and very happy to tell you that they can do it. But good vendors are very, very hard to find. If you have the budget, for example, and you're a big multinational company, you can go to the Big Four that will have an army of consultants and developers and so on that will be able to help you with that. If you are a very, very small company, a startup, for example, or where you're not really pushing a product out, being able to find vendors that you can trust, it's very, very, very tough. Because as I said, there are a lot of people that would say that a lot of vendors that would say that they have the capabilities of and the experience to help you when actually they don't. So where do you get help? If you are a member of the Executive Center, you have access to our TEC community, where you'll be able to pick the brains out of people such as Scott, Claire, Stephen, and myself, and to ask for some pointers, and so that would lead you to the right direction in terms of choosing who to work with or what to look out for. Because the truth is that we have the experience because we've worked with many vendors before, and we've worked with vendors in all shapes and sizes. We have a lot of clients inside our network that provide these services, and we know a lot of people outside of our network, that can help with that. And we've gone through some painful lessons. We know people who are good to work with. See, in terms of how projects have changed, as you said, gone were the days where there was a big systems project and we used the waterfall approach to speak, where business analysts would come in, speak to everybody in the business, work out a whole bunch of take a long time working out the system specs, get that signed off, and everybody stuck by it. And then the tech team would go on and build those systems out. There will be a clear plan for UAT, and then there will be a clear date to go live and so on. And everything was set in stone and thought of upfront. Nowadays, with today's environment, everybody people don't know what they want till they see it. So you can ask them what they want and they'll change it and they will say, yes, that sounds good. And, and if you try to do all the thinking up front, by the time you get started doing the work, it would be out of date. So and it's just the way things are right now. And having people to stick by what they agreed on is extremely difficult. Because and then it turns out that the blame tends to be shifted towards IT, for example, for not being able to read minds. I'm not good at reading minds. I wish I was. My wife would be happier if I was, but I'm not. And I have to ask. But when people don't know what they want, that's where it becomes a challenge. So what more and more companies are doing and have been adopting that has been somewhat successful, that's been more successful, is an approach called the MVP approach, which is something that Claire, I guess, something that you know very well, and you'll be able to shed some light on.
So MVP being minimal viable product. From the product side, we go through a vigorous process of obtaining qualitative and quantitative feedback from our members. I think this is before we even start to begin to understand what features we want to build in our digital products. Going through that process, I find that the qualitative feedback is the most valuable, really understanding the needs of a member, what their pain points are, how they're interacting with a product, are we getting it right? Are we getting it wrong? I think, before that's the foundation basically. And then from that, we can say, okay, we have a hypothesis. Let's test this out by doing some lightweight development, and then we can see how we can evolve that further on. I think using the agile process of our sprints, where they're 2 weeks, 2-week sprints, I think we've been able to maintain quite a lean model where we'll be able to iterate over the features that we want to create and build within our products, digital products.
There's like a new policy coming actually for developers. We're so excited because there's something new, something can make impact to our company, something that may generate revenue as well. So this is what we're here. This is why we're here. And in order to do that, besides all the technical skill set that we already have, it's just like writing code, it's kind of boring, but the most exciting part is how it integrates to our product, how it integrates to our business value that we want to provide to our client, our customer. So we have to keep our program like flexible, scalable, that whenever the customer need, we have to adapt the changes, adapt the reality that something may go wrong, something may fail, but we have to learn from where we fail. So in order to do that, our system itself has to be robust enough, or our architect has to be well designed to adapt all the changes. And one of the techniques we're using is called CI/CD, which is continuous integration and continuous delivery. So what happened to this methodology is that because a lot of work from programmer can be actually automated by computers, so our time can be free to more focused on the business idea, on the communication between the teams and other parties, stuff like that.
I think that really helps us with the products as we're able to refine and continually refine. I think as a product manager, you know that your product is never complete. You're continually, informing recommendations based off of live testing, based off of the findings from the MVP. And I think having the, CI/CD infrastructure there helps us to create and iterate on a regular basis. Jason, do you see any challenges with the corporate behaviors of our members and adopting our products?
At TC, with being in the flexible workspace industry, we essentially provide the office space to our members. Some members come in, and they could be from banks, financial institutions with a very, very high and complicated level of requirements in terms of IT. And we basically provide a baseline functionality that satisfies most of our clients that require something more stricter and more security. And that's where, they, for example, they may not be able to, they have to use separate door access system, their own door access systems. They need their own internet lines. They need to bring their servers and house them internally in the office and stuff. And that's what the great thing about the Executive Center is that we're flexible enough to be able to cater to these clients' needs. And so we built our workspace in such a way that there is room to customize. There is some avenue to customize. Obviously, there are some things we can't do. We cannot change the characteristics of a building, for example. But certainly, we'll be able to accommodate a client's own Wi-Fi system, own door access systems, own phone systems. We'll be able to work with them on that. And anything that we cannot accommodate, that we cannot support out of the box, we will be able to accommodate by offering a customized solutions or working with the clients to bring their own solutions in-house.